Where's my phone? Okay, I think I'm live. Oh, look at that. It did pop up. Let me see. I am live, and I don't see anyone here yet. Well, let's give a minute for people to filter in. Oh, as I try to take a deep breath and get a little sage lit over here. Just some incense burning. Oh, okay. Hi, Lori. How are you? Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the live. Let's give it a few minutes for some folks to folks to filter in. Sorry about my coughing. Hi, Mystical Enlightenment. Welcome. So I know I was intending on continuing my tarot comparison study, but to be totally honest, as I load an incense stick, I need a little Saturday morning smells to go along with the live. So I'm gonna stick a nice stick in here and light that incense with. I don't know if you guys. I gotta say something. I got this at, where did we get this, Lucian? I think at one of the gas stations or head shops. It's like this torch, and this is the best thing for lighting incense. Hi, Somewhere in Time. How are you? Hi, Hedgie. This thing is so good for lighting like incense. It's so much quicker and better than a lighter. It's like it's crazy. I got some sage going here. All right, I mean, we got 6 folks in here, so let's get started. So I was going to continue my tarot. Skyberry's here. We can start now. I was going to continue my whole tarot talk, but to be honest, I kind of overslept. I had food poisoning the other day, and let me tell you, not to get too graphic, but when you get food poisoning and you purge quite violently, it's just my body I feel like I get hit by a truck. I'm not sick of anything, it's just sore. And anyways, I overslept this morning, and it was like, oh, I gotta get out of bed, and I didn't have time to really set up the full setup with the dual cameras. So I decided, and I want to put this out to you guys. What do you guys think? Because on Mondays we do Wizard 101. I can bring back the tarot stuff, the tarot comparison next Saturday. But today, I want to talk about, hi, Antonello, the fabulous fellow. How are you? I want to talk about something that really kind of called out to me this week, especially since I was home from work. I'm kind of between jobs. I had left my previous company, and I start Monday at my new company. So I had a little time off, and I've been really feeling the call of as I call them, the Greco-Roman gods, if you would, calls from Apollo, Zeus, and Artemis, or Diana, whatever you want to call her. I've been kind of boning up on some of my knowledge and just really diving in. And I want to share that with you guys, if this sounds interesting. So I got a couple of books. The first one, Greek Gods and Heroes. I really never hold it up long enough for people to see. Greek Gods and Heroes, really good book. This is by Robert Graves. And this other book is really cool. Heroes, Gods, and Monsters of the Greek Myths. Two really good books that I've been reading through and getting a lot of really cool insight. So that's what I want to do this morning, and we'll see how this goes. And we'll probably continue the tarot talk next Saturday. But I do want to continue talking about the Greek stuff. So I don't know, I might pick another time, or who knows? I'll figure it out. As I get back into the swing of things, Lucian's finally starting to feel better. Little cough still, but much better.
Oh my God, I'm starting to sound somewhat normal. I feel fantastic. Still a little bit congested, but slowly coughing it all up because, that's the only thing you kind of can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel so well rested. Who's here? Hi, Witchy. Hi, Skyberry. Hi, Mystical Enlightenment. Hi, Lori. Hi, Auntie Mama.
Hi,
Anthony.
Antonello.
Hi, Isis. Hi, Caroline. Who else? Who's that? Oh, okay, cool.
Did you get everybody?
All caught up.
Let's see. I saw a couple of comments in here.
And look, even Thor's here to say hi to everybody.
Antonella says hi, or rather hi. Not wake and bacon this morning. Definitely not doing that. This is I've got some sage and some incense going over here. And Antonella, you mentioned, let's go back a little bit. Your Greco-Roman deities are Pan, Priapus, Bacchus, Apollo, Diana, Eros, and a few others.
The god of wine.
Yeah, I haven't even really.
I've never heard of Priapus though.
Priapus, yeah, he's not one of the 12 Olympians. I'm kind of
Eros, one of the gods of the wind. Of the I forget which one.
Yeah, but she's got something else too. And Diana, of course, Diana is sometimes called Artemis.
Wait, no, Eros, the god of love, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
Eros is the god of love,
not the god of wind.
Yes, he's the one akin to, or where
with the arrow, right?
Yes, where the secular world or whatever pulled the whole Cupid idea from. And this is
Maya.
And this is the god of Kitty.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry, I just saw your comment. So yeah, as Anthony said, Eros is the god of love.
Have you guys ever seen a cat that just loves to be hugged? He comes and sits on me, and he just loves hugs and kisses, like sitting on my lap. He's just the craziest kitty.
He loves sitting. He loves laying on me. That sounds weird.
But Mr. Thor, and he likes this positional hug too. Isn't he a cutest thing?
Yeah, until he bites you.
Yeah, he's a little spazzy.
A little. He
was up at
like 2:00 this morning, spazzing about the room.
Oh, you're bumping the mic. Priapus has a giant, oversized phallus. Oh boy.
What do you mean, Anthony? He got a big dick.
He's
kidding.
He's
not
well really endowed.
He's huge, Mama. He's huge.
But yeah. Oh, here we go. So let's put this up there. So if you want to, now I'm not too familiar with Priapus, but I'm definitely going to look that up. I have only been working with these particular deities for a little under, probably 6 months. I started last summer with the Greco. I really kind of.
Okay, I'm gonna go make breakfast.
Okay,
bye guys.
So yeah, I started like into last summer with the. Yeah, you're making me look all washed out, Mr. Changing the light scheme.
Sorry, well, I gotta get by.
Oh, you should fly. Anyways, Yep. We have one of those. I still have to get some. Um Let me see. It just says my intuition is making me sick, I think. Oh, I hope not. Don't get sick. So anyways, yeah, so I personally I've always been called to work with Apollo. And I think actually I don't even know why he called out to me last year, and he's usually the one that reaches out to me. Um and another goddess that's starting to reach out to me um is also Persephone. And I have a Persephone statue um over on, I only have like one altar. Well, an altar and my crystal thingy there, with my Greco-Roman deities down below. But with spring um just looming on the horizon, and this weekend being the weekend we turn our clocks back, um making the sunlight in the afternoon or the evening stay later, is kind of really when Apollo starts reaching out. Let's get some comments. My uncle gave me a book called Classical Mythology in Song and Story when I was a kid, and it was my first foray into myth and magic. Wow, that's awesome. Um, Um, and Antonella says Apollo is my sun god and the god of yes. Yep, he's. I always feel his calling when it's going into spring and the sun and stuff like that. Certain points through the winter, he will call out to me during mild times and particular sunny days. I also am a very musical person. So I feel a really strong connection musically with Apollo as well, because yes, he is the art of he is the god of music. I play a few instruments, and I have a few around here. I have my guitar. If I point right over there, I have a guitar, and in the other room, I have an electronic drum set, and actually something cool. Not my wizard's hat, but I also just recently started dabbling into, because with working with Apollo, I have this oh, hi Jack, how are you? I have this calling toward unique and different instruments. So I'm gonna show you guys this. I don't have it hooked up where I can play it. Maybe that'll come in coming months. I figure out how to get it out of this case. Is that it? Doesn't open all the way. But this that I'm learning to play is called a lap steel guitar, which is a pretty interesting instrument. Let me see if I can. I don't have an amp going, but I can see if I can demonstrate kind of how it works a little bit. I gotta find my slide, which I don't see. Oh, there it is. Bear with me. But and I'm and I haven't said this loudly in front of Lucian, because I'm always giving Lucian crap about buying stuff, but I actually want to purchase and learn to play the lyre.
What?
You didn't hear that.
You want to learn to play the lyre?
Why not?
Why?
Because it's fun. But so a lap steel guitar. We're getting totally.
How about this? Wait, is that a lyre?
No, this is a lap steel.
What the heck is lap steel?
Lap steel. I had this a while. Remember?
Weird.
So, Yeah, the way this thing is played, and a lot of you might know it's like a Oh, Isis Mommy says my dad has a dobro. Oh, that's awesome.
Where's the rest of the incense go? The incense sticks.
I only have my cannabis ones. Okay. Sorry. So, and this is commonly called the Hawaiian guitar. It's also used in country and western. I can't really. So basically, you put finger picks on it, and you kind of the strings, and you use a slide in the other hand to slide up and down the notes. And it's tuned in a way, right? You don't use your fingers. It's tuned in a way where it always plays like a good chord. It's a little out of tune, but anyways, I digress. So yeah, I'm a very musical person, and I feel that calling from Apollo all the time to really explore my musical, well, I want to say my musical abilities.
Oh my god! I just thought ability that is
what?
Ability that is.
What the hell is that?
Abilities, but in Spanish. When you said that, but when you said it in English, I said it in Spanish.
Okay.
Isn't that awesome?
Sure.
You're like, whatevs.
Yeah. So, anyways, I have this calling to kind of strange instruments, and I think I get that from Apollo. So yeah, I've been looking on Amazon for lyres, and you can get them around anywhere from $50 to $100, something fairly decent. Let's pop into some of these comments. Oh, hello, Web of Magic, Tammy. How are you? Welcome. Ganesh. So Hedgie, Ganesh is calling out to me now. Ganesh, that's the Indian god, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a Ganesh. Let me show you. Hold on. I can show you my Ganesh because I know a lot of Indian people and really good friends of mine, and yeah, oh, look out! You're probably looking at my butt. But yes, I have a little Ganesh right here, kind of in the little thingy there. And sometimes during some of the Indian festivals, I will do offerings to Ganesh. Well, now I got to put him back. Oh, sorry. I'm going to look at my butt again. There we go. But very fascinating. Thank you, Laurie. Like I said, I don't have a hooked up to an amp, but I'm slowly learning how to play it. Which we're talking about the slide guitar, the steel guitar. Which the funny thing is, to an extent, it's easy to play because wherever you put the slide, you're getting a chord, so you can just follow the frets and strum. But that's kind of not the way it's supposed to. You're really supposed to pick and slide, and it gives an awesome effect. So as I get myself more acclimated, we'll have to do a whole show on music. And I have my Les Paul, my Gibson guitar over there. That's my pride and joy. So now Isis Mommy says my dad has a dobro. Does he play? That's really fascinating because dobro is very similar. And there's not many people that play them, believe it or not, because it's not a very common instrument these days. But it's very interesting. I don't know why. It's a really cool instrument. Please put the days and times you're on YouTube in the comments below. I will. So we're getting back into our schedule. Saturdays, I'm going to do every Saturday morning around 9:30. And Monday, 7:30, I do Wizardry 101. Lucian goes on Tuesdays. You know what? Yeah, I will post it in the comments. I'll post it in the comments. And also I'm going to put a schedule up on the Facebook group. And guys, if you haven't checked out the Facebook group, it's Crossed Paths. Because I'm going to put I usually post in there when I'm going live. Lucian does the same. So we'll put some stuff in there as well. And yeah, we'll yeah, that's fine. I'm going to post it in here as well. I'll post it in the comments of this video. Yeah, actually, Lucian's going to do it for me. Isn't he the sweetest thing?
Yes, mama.
No, I'm alive. Sweet Ganesh. It's my Ganesh is really little, but I love it because it's gold and it just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful beautiful statue. I feel Jack says I feel the same way sometimes. I have a seagull Merlin and it's like a 4-stringed dulcimer. That's really cool. Yeah, it's I don't know what it is with different instruments. Like I said, I play drums, I play guitar, and I play, as an extension of being able to finger play guitar, I play the bass as well. Yeah, I'm really getting called to some of the odd instruments, and I probably Lucian's over there. I will probably make my purchase today.
I heard that.
No, you didn't. But
okay, you can do that. You can get caught up to the amount of money I have to save to get initiated.
That's yeah. Go away. Oh. My husband just covered an old 12-string guitar. Oh, converted old 12 into a steel. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. That's awesome. That's awesome. They're just really cool to play. Anyways, let's see. One more comment. My grandfather was amazing. He could pick up any musical instrument without any training and just play it. Some people just have a gift for that. Yeah, I'm kind of jelly. I have a very good ear for music. I can sing pretty well. And I can play by ear. It's just translating it into the music. I do pretty well at guitar. I don't, and actually I've taken guitar lessons. And anyone who's taken modern guitar lessons, from what I understand, was the way with me as well. They don't even teach, why'd that go away? They don't even teach, reading music. Everything in guitar is tablature. So that's kind of how I learned, but I have a nephew who took piano lessons and boom, 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 he can play like Mozart. It's insane. Anyways, says Dave, check out chapsticks sometimes online. Another fascinating instrument for lovers of guitar. Oh, really? Awesome. I will have to definitely check that out. But anyways, yeah. So that's one more. Let's see. Let's pull this one. I could barely sleep all day yesterday. I was wallpapering my friend's bathroom till 1 a.m. Have to go back to busy. Yeah. Like I said, I'm getting into the swing of work starting Monday. So I'll be busy. But anyways, let's see. What do I want to read? Let's read. I was going to go in order, but I want to read a little bit about Apollo. Let's start with Apollo because he's my main god that I really feel a calling to. And this I'm going to read from Heroes, Gods, and Monsters of the Greek Myths. And then I'll tell you a little bit about how I work with Apollo. Apollo was the most beautiful of gods. His hair was dark gold, his eyes stormy blue. He wore a tunic of golden panther skin, carried his golden bow, and wore a quiver of golden arrows. His chariot was beaten gold. Its horses were white with gold manes and flame-colored eyes. He was the god of the sun always. Later, he became patron of music, poetry, mathematics, and medicine. And later, when he was a mature god, he preached moderation. He bade his worshippers to look first into their own hearts and find there the beginnings of wisdom, and to conduct themselves prudently in all things. But in his youth, he did many cruel and wanton deeds. Several times he was almost expelled from the company of the gods by Zeus, whom he had angered with his wild folly. So he was a little bit of a brat as a kid. Zeus had his hands full with Apollo. Anyways. Yeah, Opal, I need some coffee too. But I'll get that after the live. As soon as he was given his bow and arrows, he raced down from Olympus to hunt the python who had hunted his mother. So, a little backstory.
Dave.
What?
Simon's asking if we're up for Terrathon this year.
I will do it. Yeah, why not? Yes.
Do it.
Okay.
When? Simon, when's Terrathon? We would love to participate.
Yeah, hold on, a little squirrel moment. Yeah, we would definitely put something together for Terrathon, especially the both of us. Let us know the time. Let Lucian know the time slots, or let one of us know the time slot you want us to cover.
Particularly me, seeing as Dave is the worst at checking his Facebook Messenger ever.
I check it.
Did you get the message from Nicole then?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'll check my Facebook Messenger. Yes, I did right now. Dave, hope you're feeling better. Can you tell me what software you use to get the split screen on your YouTube tarot videos? I download OBS and I'm not liking it. Have a great one. Yeah, I will. I will. I'm sorry. Lucian made me squirrel. So anyways, backstory. Apollo's mother was not. So maybe I should go through this in order. Because the way this book is written, let's start this in order and give you some perspective. So, okay. So Hera was Zeus's wife, okay? But what I'm going to do is back up, and there's a section called Birth of the Twins. That's going to cover Artemis and Diana, because it's pretty important. And keep it in mind that Hera.
You mean Artemis and Apollo?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Artemis and Diana.
That's the same person. Yeah, Artemis and Apollo. So, anyways, Birth of the Twins. Zeus pursued a nymph named Leto, but Hera was watching. So he changed Leto into a quail, and then himself into a quail. And they met in a glade. Here the sun sifted through the trees and striped the grass with shadows. And it was difficult to see two quail whose feathers were brown and lighter brown. But the eyes of jealousy are very sharp, and Hera saw them. She flung a curse, saying, Leto, you will grow heavy with child, but you shall not bear any where the sun shines. So basically, Hera, Zeus's wife, cursed Leto, Apollo and Artemis's mother. So, anyways, moving on, she sent the great serpent Python. This is Hera. She sent the great serpent Python to enforce her curse, to hunt Leto out of any sunny place she might try to rest. All right, so that's a little bit of backstory on the Python, and it's important so that the rest of the Apollo story makes a little bit of sense. Okay, so as back to Apollo. As soon as he was given his bow and arrows, he raced down from Olympus to hunt the Python who had haunted his mother. Dryads, who are tattletales, told him he could find his enemy at Mount Parnassus. There he sped. As he stood on a hill, he saw the great serpent weaving its dusty coils far below. He notched an arrow, drew his bow, and let it fly. It darted like light. He saw it strike, saw the huge coils flail in agony. Shouting with savage glee, he raced down the slope, but when he got there, he found the serpent gone. It had left a trail of blood, which he followed to the oracle of Mother Earth at Delphi. What is the matter? You're like, you got the. I feel like I'm in a disco over here. So he followed to the oracle of Mother Earth at Delphi. Python was hiding in a cave where he could not be followed. Apollo breathed on his arrowheads and shot them into the cave as fast as he could. They broke into flames when they hit. Smoke filled the cave, and the serpent had to crawl out. Apollo, standing on a rock, shot him so full of arrows he looked like a porcupine. He skinned the great snake and saved the hide for a gift. So that was like one of Apollo's first acts when he received the bow and arrows. Now it was a sacred place where he had done this killing. Here lived the oracles of Mother Earth, whom the gods themselves consulted. There were priestesses trained from infancy. They chewed laurel, built a fire of magic herbs, and sat in the smoke, which threw them into a trance wherein they saw and told in riddles what was to come. That's interesting, because if you follow the Wizard 101, we talked a little bit about journeying. And look at here in Greek mythology, there is reference to journeying. Isn't that something? It is as old as Greek itself. Anyways, knowing that he had already violated a shrine, Apollo thought he might as well make his deed as large as possible, and claimed the oracles for his own, bidding them to prophesy in his name. When Mother Earth complained to Zeus about the killing of her Python, Apollo smoothly promised to make amends. He instituted annual games at Delphi in celebration of his victory, and these he graciously named after his enemy, calling them the Pythian Games. And he named the oracles Pythonesses. Less excusable was Apollo's treatment of a satyr named Marsyas. Yeah, this is an interesting story. The happy fellow had the misfortune, to be an excellent musician, a realm Apollo considered his own. And where he would broke no so a realm Apollo considered his own, and where he would brook no rivalry. Hearing the satire praised too often, Apollo invited him to a contest. The winner was to choose a penalty to which the loser would have to submit. and the Muses were the judge. So Marsyas played his flute, and Apollo played his lyre. They played exquisitely. The Muses could not choose between them. Then Apollo shouted, "Now you must turn your instrument upside down and play and sing at the same time. That is the rule. I go first." Thereupon the god turned his lyre upside down and played and sang a hymn praising the gods, and especially their beautiful daughters, the Muses. But you cannot play a flute upside down, and certainly cannot sing while playing it. So Marsyas was declared the loser. Apollo collected his price. He flayed Marsyas alive and nailed his skin to a tree. A stream gushed from the tree's roots and became a river. On the banks of that river grew reeds which sang softly when the wind blew. People called the river Marsyas, and that is still its name. So, I mean, and Apollo has many stories, but that's kind of one of the most famous ones. Yes, laurel is bay leaves. So any good paisan like myself, when making a nice gravy for the spaghetti, drop a couple of those bay leaves in there. Those are laurel leaves. Antonello, the fact journeying with drugs. You could say that. Journeying, yes, it is inhaling the smoke of any kind of hallucinogenic herb, and basically tripping. It doesn't say in this book what they use. I think it just said herbs. But that's kind of what it is. I I use cannabis when I journey. Some use mugwort or wormwood. But yeah, that's basically kind of what journeying is. Yes.
Nothing.
Wait, are you coming in? Come and say hi. Oh, anyways. So yeah, so I've been working with Apollo, and some of the things that more.
Oh.
That's why I have a bald head, because I love head rubs. So I feel when Apollo calls to me, it's a threefold thing. It's obviously the drawn to the sun and the warm weather and sunshine, which is why this time of year he kind of starts stirring around the daylight savings time. The second thing is musically. I love. Oh, wait a minute. Your sauce can cause you to go into a trance. No. Bay leaf. Hold on. I'm going to go back in here. Hold on. I want to look and see if it says what they were smoking. Give me a second. Sorry. Birth of the Twins. Where's my Apollo? I was when I was raised. Just want to see if it says. So it said they chewed the laurel, built a fire of magic herbs. So it doesn't say what the herbs were. Laurel, no, I mean I eat sage. Not eat sage. Oh my god. I eat bay leaves all the time. But no. You won't get high off of bay leaves. There's other herbs are used. Yeah, love it. I love head rubs. But anyways, when I feel the call from Apollo, anyways, it is music, sunshine, but Apollo to me also has a very erotic um um calling, if you would. I mean, Apollo is just a gorgeous man. He's just absolutely stunning, and even in his life, he had many stories of love. Even the story of how the laurel tree um, be came to be was one of Apollo's love conquests, where I don't know the name, but to escape his advances, she had asked to be turned into a laurel tree. Um, another another very sad and actually gay, because Apollo went both ways. Um, but he had a young, I don't know what you'll call it, partner, friend, we'll just say friend, named Hyacinth, who um, died tragically, um, trying to catch a javelin that Apollo had thrown, and of course it pierced him, killed him, and that's where the hyacinth flower came from. Um, yeah, we got to go back to Antonello. Hallucinogenic herbs and other substances used for spiritual purposes are known as uh, entheogens. Cannabis, mushrooms, peyote, wine, even mugwort and wormwood are in flying ointments. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Yes. Um, Simon, do you have a book understanding Aleister Crowley's book thoughts? Okay, that wasn't that wasn't at me. But yeah, just gotta going through the comments. But yeah, so that's kind of the how Apollo calls to me, and of course I have a statue of him over there. And what's recently also happened with me is working with Diana, who is Apollo's sister, and I feel the calling to her because she's very nature-esque. Well, let's read her thing. Father Zeus was by no means an attentive parent. He had so many children in so many different circumstances, he could scarcely keep them all in mind. However, he was not permitted to forget Leto's children. They were too beautiful, and beauty was the quality he found most attractive. As he looked down from Olympus, their faces seemed to blaze from among all the children on earth. It seemed to him that they cast their own light, these twins, each one different. Apollo, a ruddy light; Artemis, a silver light. And he knew that they were true godlings and must be brought to Olympus. He sent for them on their third birthday. He had Hephaestus make Apollo a golden bow and quiver of golden arrows that could never be emptied, and a golden chariot drawn by golden ponies. So Hestius made that. No, not Hestius. How do you pronounce that? Hephaestus. I'm so bad at pronouncing some of these things. Sorry. Anyways, a golden chariot drawn by golden ponies. But he withheld Artemis's gifts. He preferred her and wanted her to ask him for things. He took her on his lap and said, "And what gifts would you fancy, little maid?" She said, "I wish to be your maiden always, never a woman, and I want many names in case I get bored with one. I want a bow and arrow too, but silver, not gold. I want an embroidered deerskin tunic, short enough to run in. I need 50 ocean nymphs to sing for me, and 20 wood nymphs to hunt with me. And I want a pack of hounds, please, fierce, swift ones. I want the mountains for my special places, and one city. One will be enough. I don't like cities." She reached up and played with his beard and smiled at him. "Yes, may I have all these things? May I?" Zeus answered, "For a child like you, it is worthwhile braving Hera's wrath once in a while. You shall have more than you ask for. You shall have the gift of eternal chastity, and also the gift of changing your mind about it at any time, which will help you not want to. And finally, the greatest gift of all, you shall go out and choose your own gifts so that they will have special value." She kisses him and whispered her thanks into his ear, and then went running off to choose her gifts. She went into the woods and to the river and to the ocean stream and selected the most beautiful nymphs for her court. She visited Hephaestus in his smoking smithy inside the mountain and said, "I have come for my bow, a silver one, please." He said, "Silver is more difficult to work with than gold, and needs cool light. It should be made underwater. You must go deep beneath the sea, off the island of Lipara, where my Cyclops are making a horse trough for Poseidon, who thinks of nothing but horses these days." So Artemis and her nymphs swam underwater to where the Cyclopses were hammering a great trough. Yeah, her things gets pretty long, but anyways, we all get the feeling that Artemis or Diana is right. She's the nature bound. She's the huntress, and that is someone that's dear to me when I go hiking, when I go in the woods, when I go camping, and any of that sort of stuff. She's also the goddess of the moon. So on full moons, it's working with Diana. Any kind of moon magic, moon ritual. That's kind of how they kind of play in together. Apollo being god of the sun, Artemis being god of the moon. So let's pop into the comments. Did I miss anything? Comments. There was something I wanted to share. Hold on. Where am I going? Right here. So this is the Wikipedia. This is the Wikipedia site on entheogen. And that's the herbs used for like light hallucinogenic meditations. So definitely check that out. I'm actually going to click on that and check it out myself. Because it is quite fascinating, and it is quite an experience. I used it to connect with my spirit guides, and I recently used it to actually connect with Apollo and Artemis, and I'll tell you that it was a very interesting very interesting experience. Tangerine. Is Tangerine in here? Yay, boop. She's booping. Roman Biscotti. Hi, Roman Biscotti. Are you Is that the same person? Interesting. Cool. New names. So that's interesting that she wanted multiple names, and it's interesting how in Roman mythology they refer to her as Diana, and in Greek mythology as Artemis. And as you all know, the Greco-Roman, the Greek and Romans, it's all the same pantheon. They believe in a lot of the same things. Offerings, when I do offerings for Apollo, I will burn a laurel leaf. I will break it up, put it on a coal. I also sometimes take small pieces of meat and burn them on coals. To think of the way, and it says somewhere in this book, the way to do offerings to a lot of the Greek gods, they loved the smell of cooking meat, but they hated the taste of it. So a lot of times back in the ancient times, especially around the base of Mount Olympus, they would set up altars, and they would, they would slaughter and cook, just different, I think it was like cows and just different animals. And they would cook it, and they would eat, and they would have a feast. So a good offering for the Greek Greco-Roman gods would be a feast. And among things, another things, and I'll burn specific herbs and stuff for them. But yeah. So that's kind of it's kind of my foray into the Greek gods. Now I want to scroll back because a few of you guys had mentioned some deities that you guys work with. Oh, all right. Hephaestus. Oh, I did say it right. Hephaestus. Okay. Yeah, Artemis is badass. And you can use the S's. They're both pretty badass in their own right. But yeah, I have a respect for Artemis because here you have an eternal maiden, and a maiden is like a non-woman. She's a maiden. But here's someone that's in the woods hunting and just living off the land. It's like a almost a paradox, if you would. It's really cool, and it just really calls for respect. It's really she's a really cool goddess. I wanna so some of you guys have mentioned some deities, and I want to scroll back and find them, and let's see who else we can explore. So bear with me. Oh my God, so many comments. Well, I can't find it. So if any of you guys want, so let's see who we have in this book for deities, and let's see who else we want to explore. So there's Zeus, Hera, Athena. Oh, hi, Milan. Poseidon, Hades, Demeter. But oh, you know what? We need to talk about. Let's see if I can find her. We need to talk about Persephone. And I don't know if she's in this book here. Better Apollo, of Hermes. Let me see, because Persephone, and let me see if she's in here, because Persephone, oh man, I don't know if it's covered. How can you not cover Persephone? So anyways, I know I remember reading about her. But anyways, let's look in here again. Let's go in the index. Persephone, she is the one, and I remember, and I might have read it online. So basically, to summarize Persephone, she was a goddess of, she worked in the gardens, she was the goddess of nature and gardening and flowering and all that stuff. And what had happened is she was kidnapped and brought to the underworld to be the bride of Hades. And of course, it was against her will. And, she obviously refused to eat, and, she rebelled in her own way down there. Even though in this tale, Hades really tried his best to appease her. He would bring her all kinds of, I'm going to say exotic, underworld flowers and plants, and she had her own arboretum. At the end, the deal was that if she ate while in the underworld, she would be, trapped there, couldn't leave. Long story short, she ate 6 pomegranate seeds. Okay. And, I don't know if she was tricked into it, but she anyways, she ate the 6 pomegranate seeds. But so what ended up happening is, when she tried to escape and, oops, I just whacked the mic, get back to up here, the upper world, because she had eaten 6 seeds from the pomegranate, she has to spend 6 months in the underworld. So that's where, she, comes up in the spring, and she goes into the underworld in the winter. She wasn't happy about that, so she says, as long as I'm in the underworld, nothing shall grow. And so now this is where we have spring, summer, our seasons. When she retreats into the underworld in the fall, all the plants die, and we go through the period of winter while she's in the underworld. And then in the spring, she is allowed to come back. What?
You know who Mil33N is, right?
That's Milan.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh, you knew that?
Yeah.
Hi, Milan.
Hello. So that's where Persephone comes in. In the spring, she comes back to she comes up from the underworld, and she resumes her role as the plantress or the planter. She ended up secretly liking, because Hades treated her very well, right? He brought her all kinds of gifts, and at the end of the day, she ended up liking him, but with the stipulation that she can come up to the she didn't want to be trapped in the underworld. So she does. She stays there. She goes back in the winter, and when the spring comes, she comes up to the um, the upload. Yeah, I was thinking of that, and so he says you missed the part where Demeter goes to the underworld looking for Persephone. She is an important. I'm sorry, I did. As I was telling it, I like, oh shit, I missed that whole part. Yes, because I believe Demeter. Maybe it's in Demeter's story. Let's take a look here. Let me a second. Let's pop in here. Oh, Greek and let's look for Demeter. Page 22. Because I think I know I saw it in here. All right, so let's go through Demeter's story. Demeter, which means barley mother. Another name for her is Ceres, from which we got the word cereal. She was the goddess of the cornfield, mistress of planting and harvesting, lady of growing things. Zeus was very fond of her. He always obliged her with rain when her fields were thirsty. He gave her 2 children, a boy and a girl. Yeah, it does say it in here. The girl was named Persephone, and Demeter loved her very much. Persephone was raised among flowers and looked like a flower herself. Her body was as plain as a stem, her skin soft as petals, and her pansy eyes. And she had pansy eyes. She took charge of flowers for her mother. She was adept in making up new kinds and naming them. One day she went farther than usual, across a stream, through a grove of trees, to a little glade. She carried her paint pot, for she had seen a stand of tall waxy lilies she had decided to stripe. She was painting their faces. Now, as she was painting their faces, she saw a bush she hadn't noticed before. She went to look at it. It was a very strange bush with a thick, green, glossy leaves and hung with large red berries that trembled on their stems like drops of blood. She started at the bush. She didn't know whether she liked it or not. She decided she did not and seized it by its branches and pulled it. But it was rough, toughly rooted and hard to pull. So she couldn't get it out. She was used to getting her own way. She set herself and gave a mighty tug. Up came the bush, its long roots dragged out of the ground, leaving a big hole. She tossed the bush aside and turned to go back to her lilies, but she heard a rumbling sound and turned back. The noise that grew louder and louder was coming from the hole. To her horror, the hole seemed to be spreading, opening like a mouth, and the rumbling grew to a jangling, crashing din. Out of the hole leaped 6 black horses, dragging behind them a golden chariot. In this chariot stood a tall figure in a flowing black cape. On his head was a black crown. She had no time to scream. He reached out his long arm, snatched her into the chariot, and lashed his horses. They corvetted into the air and plunged into the hole again. When they had gone, the hole had closed. Demeter was frantic when the girl didn't come home and rushed out to search for her. The tall, green-clad goddess rode in a light wicker chariot behind a swift white horse, a gift from Poseidon. She sped here and there, calling Persephone, Persephone, but no one answered. On me. But no one answered. All night long she searched. As dawn broke, she came to the glade. She saw the uprooted bush and the trampled grass. She leaped from the chariot, then saw something that stabbed her through. Persephone's little paint pot overturned. She lifted her head to the sky and howled like a she-wolf. Then she fell still and listened. The sun was rising. The birds had begun to gossip. They told each other of the heedless girl, the headless girl. No, she's got her head. The heedless girl and the strange bush, and the hole and the chariot and the black rider, and how surprised the girl was when he caught her. Then Demeter spoke softly, questioning the birds. They told her enough for her to know who had taken her daughter. She put her face in her hands and wept, just when a little boy came running into the meadow to pick some flowers. When he saw Demeter, he laughed. He had never seen a grown-up crying before, but when she looked up, he stopped laughing. She pointed at him, whispering, and he was immediately changed into a lizard. But he hadn't learned to scuttle yet, and just sat there looking at Demeter. A moment too long, for a hawk swooped down, caught him. He was a lizard for only a short while. Demeter climbed back into her chariot and sped to Olympus. She charged into the throne room where Zeus sat. "Justice!" she cried. Hold on, let me take this off the screen here. Justice, she cried. Justice, your brother, Hades, has stolen my daughter, our daughter. Peace, good sister, said Zeus. Compose yourself. Hades' wooing has been trifle abrupt, perhaps, but after all, he's my brother, our brother, and is accounted a good match. Think, sweet Demeter, it is difficult for our daughter to look beyond the family without marrying far beneath her. Never, cried Demeter. So basically, Zeus is saying that, hey, it's a good match. Never, cried Demeter. It must not be. Anyone but Hades. Don't you realize this is a spring child, a flower child, a delicate, unopened bud? No ray of sunlight ever pierces that dank hole he calls his kingdom. She'll wither and die. She is our daughter, said Zeus. I fancy she has a talent for survival. Pray think it over. Then Demeter noticed that Zeus was holding a new thunderbolt, a marvelously wrought zigzag lance of lightning, volt blue, radiant with energy. And she realized that Hades, who in his deep realms held all stores of silver and gold, had sent Zeus a special gift. It would be difficult to obtain justice. Once again, she says, will you restore my daughter to me? My dear, said Zeus, when your rage cools, you will realize that this is a fine match. The very best thing for the child. Please go back to Earth and give yourself a chance to be intelligent about this. I will go back to Earth, said Demeter, and I will not return until you send for me. Weeks passed. Then Zeus found his sleep being disturbed by sounds of lamentation. He looked down upon the earth and saw a grievous sight. Nothing grew. The fields were blasted and parched. Trees were stripped of leaves, standing blighted. With a blazing sun beating down, the soil was hard and cracked, covered with the shriveled brown husks of wheat and corn and barley, killed in the bud. And there was no green place anywhere. The people were starving. The cattle had nothing to eat. The game could not find nothing and had fled. And a great wailing and lamentation arose as the people lifted their faces to Olympus and prayed for Zeus to help them. Well, he thought to himself, finding his new thunderbolt, I suppose we shall have to compromise. He sent for Demeter. When she came, he said, I have been thinking. Perhaps I have not been quite fair to you. No, said Demeter. Do you still wish your daughter's return? Yes, said Demeter. While she is gone, no crops will grow, no tree will bear, no grass will spring. While she is gone, and while I mourn, the earth will grow as dry and shriveled as my heart, and will put forth no green thing.
I'm going to run very quickly to go get granola bars and milk.
Okay.
Do I?
Were you going? Wait a minute. Were you going?
I'm going to stop and shop.
Stop and plop, stop and plop. What do I want? There is something I wanted. I don't remember what it was. I can't think of it right now. I'm reading. I'll text you.
Okay.
So anyways, very well, said Zeus. In light of all the facts, this is my judgment. Your daughter shall be restored to you and shall remain with you. However, this is the important part. However, if any food has passed her lips during her I don't know, these weird words, sojourn in other words, while she was down there, then she must remain there. This is the law of above, older than our decrees. And even I am powerless to revoke it. So anyways, she will have been too sad to eat, cried Demeter. No food will have passed her lips. She will return to me and remain with me. You have spoken, and I told you to your word, and I hold you to your word. I'm going to skip. So anyways, I want to skip forward. Yeah, here we go. In the meantime, Persephone was in Erebus with the Dark King. After the first few days of haste and brutality and strangeness, he began to treat her very gently and with great kindness. He gave her rubies and diamonds to play jacks with. He had dresses spun for her from gold and silver thread, ordered her a throne of the finest ebony, and gave her a crown of black pearls. But she made herself very difficult to please. She tossed her head, stamped her foot, and turned from him. She would not speak to him and said she would never forgive him. She said she wanted to go home to her mother and that she had to attend to her flowers. And she had hated him and always would. As she launched these tirades at him, he would stand and listen and frown and keep listening until she flounced away. Then he would go and get her another gift. Secretly, though, so secretly that she didn't even tell it to herself, she was rather enjoying the change. She did miss the sunshine and the flowers, but there was much to amuse her. Secretly, she gloated upon her power over his most fearsome monarch. Secretly, she enjoyed his gifts and his efforts to please her, and marveled at the way he was obeyed. Although she's never forgot how he had frightened her when he came charging out of that hole in his chariot, she admitted the lofty set of his black-robed features, the majestic shoulders, the great, impatient hands, and his gloomy black eyes. But she knew that part of her power over him was disdain, and so kept flouting and abusing him, and which made him gloomier than ever, refused to let a crumb of food pass her lips. He tried every which way he knew to tempt her into eating. His cook prepared the most delicious meals, and his servants bore them to her chamber, but she would pretend not to notice a thing and sit there holding her head high. She was like being snooty. It's like very long. So anyways, let's skip a little forward. So anyway, she had other amusements too. She liked to wander in the Elysian fields and dance with the happy shades. She was fascinated.
What are the happy shades?
Shades, spirits. You know what the Elysian fields are, right?
Yes, but no, that's kind of interesting because that's like in the magicians, everyone has a shade. A shade is
It's
like
a soul.
your soul.
Yes.
Oh.
So in Greek mythology, your soul. So
Yes,
the
I know,
Elysian
'cause there's
fields is the heaven. It's the goal of where you go when you die.
Yes.
It's heaven.
Yes.
Okay, so the shades are the souls
Yeah.
there.
Well, okay, hold on, because I got to step up for a second. So in the magicians, Anthony, I know you are watching this too. Everyone has a soul. So what happens is when your shade is ripped from you, it goes down to the underworld, where they are usually kept by Persephone in the
Elysian fields.
or her house, which is called Elysium.
I never heard of Elysium, but the Elysian fields are.
Yeah.
So there's sections to the underworld. When you go to the underworld, I don't know exactly what the fields are named. I know the Elysian fields are heaven. There's a palace there. There's an area where the bad people are punished, and then there's the whole purgatory part of the Elysian fields.
It's interesting because the different subsections of the underworld, it depends on how you were in life. I know that one place allows you to reincarnate, another one doesn't, another one you're just kind of like stuck in limbo with all your dreams unfulfilled.
Yeah, so I believe a little bit different. So if you're bad in life, you go to the area where it's like the proverbial hell, where you just are tortured, basically. Then you go to, there's a purgatory place that's kind of like it could be like the well of souls in a way, or purgatory. I don't know the name of it, but that's where most of us go, and that's where you go, spend some time there, and are reincarnated. Then when you reach enlightenment, that's when you go to Elysium, of the Elysian fields. Now you can spend eternity in the Elysian fields because it's a heaven. There are some who choose to reincarnate and start the whole process all over again.
Yeah.
I think they're crazy, but they are. So that's the gist of Underworld. So, anyways, she liked to wander in the Elysian fields and dance with the happy shades. She was fascinated by the torments, particularly the funny man trying to roll the stone uphill. Yeah, so that's one of the people in the hell area. That's not Elysia. But there's one person who I doesn't to say what he did in life. But
must have been shitty.
Yeah, he would roll the stone uphill, it would break in two, or something would happen, and he would have to start all over again. And that's what his up and down. He would roll that stone forever, ever and ever and ever. That's his punishment.
Eternity.
So yeah, the funny man trying to roll a stone uphill, always having to start over again. She pitied Tantalus, and when no one was looking, cupped some water. So you know the story of Tantalus, right? He was given an unquenchable thirst, and he's bound, like I think neck high, in water, but he can't drink.
Right. So, wait, Tangerine said the reincarnation station. Imagine you get there and there's like a woman at a desk with a clipboard, and she's like,
"Next,
okay, sir, you have an option between a penguin or a dung beetle today.
What would you like?"
I'd be a penguin. Penguins would be fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a dung beetle, that's for sure. So, anyways, she pitied Tantalus. What are we at for time here? Because I know doesn't
Simon? Yeah, he's going live soon.
Oh, yeah, I should. Let me try to rush through this. All right. So still, she liked her garden best, and there was where she spent most of her time. So she had a garden down there, most time than ever, because she was so hungry. She didn't want to know. She didn't know what to do, and she didn't want Hades to see how she felt. She knew he would think up more delicious things to tempt her. Anyways, I'm going to speed along. Let's go here. Standing at the garden one afternoon, half hidden in a clump of nightshade, she saw the little boy eating something. It was a red fruit, and he was eating it juicily. What the fuck that means?
Like yum yum yum. So
I have a pomegranate in there too. I'm going to have that today.
I can go grab it.
He saw her watching and came toward her, smiling, his mouth stained with red juice. He held out his hand. It was a pomegranate, her favorite fruit. "We're alone," he whispered. "No one will see you. No one will know. Quickly now, eat." So anyways, this boy tricked her into eating 6 pomegranate seeds. And that's where the 6 months of winter comes in.
Hey, Turbo Dog.
What?
Would you like a bite of the fruit
Of course I
beyond
would.
the world?
I'll eat this whole thing. So this is our pomegranate. I'm going to break into this bad boy, like right now. So that's the story of Hades, Hades and Persephone, mostly Persephone.
I love that story.
I do too. I think I love a lot of the stories. I love the Hyacinth story. It's very tragic, but it's just such a really cool story. Anyways, let's take a quick look at the comments because we're going to wrap up because I know Simon's going live fairly soon, and I want folks to be able to hop over.
Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 36 degrees.
I'm tired of sharing my apartment with potato bugs. Ew.
4 degrees.
I'm going to go wander the woods pulling up weeds. Yeah, right. I'm going to go yank some weeds too. Just don't pull up poison ivy or poison oak. That's no fun. What is it? I'll go back to Earth, but I won't be IT life about it. I don't know what that means.
They're referring to reincarnation.
Oh, I won't be intelligent about it. I got it. Okay. Little typo. Anyways, guys. Oh, it's been an hour and a half. This stuff is quite fascinating. And as spring approaches, I want to start doing some, if you guys are interested, maybe some Apollo and Persephone rituals, especially in the spring. Once we get the backyard all set up, I'm going to definitely set up a Persephone altar out back, and we should do a flower garden and maybe even a garden to grow some stuff. That's my goal. I have 2 goals this year. One, a small garden and some flowers and stuff like that to honor Persephone. And I want to plant a cherry blossom tree and see if I can get
cherry blossom
and see if I can plant a laurel tree. I don't know if laurel will grow in this area, but I'd like to see if we can.
And you know what my goal is?
What's your goal?
To become initiated into Santeria and become a Santero.
Well, you need to do some hardcore saving. How much cash you got so far?
200.
Oh,
I'm getting there.
you just need like 10 times more of that. Fantastic. Anyways, guys.
Well, I'm gonna go get granola bars and milk. So
Thanks for being...
bye, everybody.
You're well. Oh, hi, Emmy. You're welcome. All right. So, guys, thanks for joining. This was fun. A little bit unplanned and last minute because I woke up too late to get the cards going. So we'll see what we do next week. I might have to break this off into two things. Go back to doing tarot next week, and also do another show on some of the deities and stuff. But anyways, guys, mwah, I love you. Don't forget to check out. I'm pretty sure Simon's going live, so definitely check out Hermit's Cave. I forgot, he was in here today.
Yeah, he was in there.
Yeah, so don't forget to check out the Hermit's Cave. He's going live like very shortly, so that's why I'm gonna kind of end this pretty quickly. And guys, I love you guys. Mwah!
Love y'all.
Thank you all. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye now. Oh, I gotta end.